Hey everyone, just wanted to get on here and say hello because I know I haven't been blogging too much. It's been a little over a week and I am currently sick at home with a cold. So I've been slowly just recovering from that. I must have caught it on the way back from Spain. But I know I've told you guys a little bit about the Soul Care Conference in the last video. And I'm thankful God had reminded me to just like tape something and just tell you guys a little bit about it. But the conference went really, really well. It was such a wonderful time to connect with people in my organization from teams across Europe, but also the leadership across the world. Like there are people in the US office who were there, the Canadian office, as well as the Filipino office. And it was such a blessing to meet so many people. And it was really cool to see how God connected me with certain people in the organization. And I just feel so blessed. Like they were a very, very fun, faithful, um, and imperfect group of people. And I say imperfect because I just really appreciate that there's all of us who are hurting, who have different burdens, who are burnt out, who feel like we should be doing and can be doing more for the kingdom of God. And yet we continue to mess up. It doesn't matter if we're missionaries in the field for 3 years or 30 years. So it was encouraging to hear that people who have been in the game for a really long time still struggle. And maybe that's disheartening for some people, but for me, it feels encouraging because I don't know, I always have this thought that like when people who have been doing something for a really long time that they don't have any struggles, and that's not true. And so it just makes it more real and personable and easier to be vulnerable with people too. So I really appreciate meeting everybody there. I also really appreciated just reconnecting with a lot of people from my training in Michigan in July. I made a lot of good friends there and was really fun to have that mini reunion. So I'll definitely blog about that, or at least have like a picture or two up on the blog. I still need to get started on my newsletter. I'm so sorry, you guys. Like, I know it's been a little crazy, but I need to get started on that just so that I can reach out to people and let them know what's been going on, and to follow the blog and the silly YouTube channel. But I also wanted to share a few fun stories for you all because I know you guys love stories. And so I'll try to keep this short, even though I'm looking at my timer around right now and I see that it's been 3 minutes of me blabbing already. So, first story is on the way to Spain, on the way to the conference. I was in a shuttle because I had to take a shuttle from Craiova to Bucharest. And that's about a 2.5 hour ride. And so I took a shuttle and I was sitting in the back with a woman and a man who didn't know each other. And they were talking a lot in Romanian, and I didn't understand a word they were saying, but I got to talk a little bit with the woman next to me, and her English was phenomenal. And the man next to her, his English was great too. I feel like there's a lot of people in Romania who know how to speak English really well. But we got to talking, and I told her at one point that I had moved to Romania, had quit my job, moved here, and was going to be here for the next 2 years as a missionary. And she was just so surprised by that. She was like, really? Like, of all places to go to, like, why here? You know, why this particular city as well? And I told her too, I was like, I can't explain it to you. It's God. And like the man next to her had interrupted our conversation too. And he's like, I'm so sorry for interrupting, but how did you come to Romania? Like, I don't understand. Like, are you, like how did you choose Romania? And I told him the same thing. I was like, it's a really weird story, but all I can tell you is it's God. Like, it is God. And he told me to come, so I came. And because they were like, you don't know anybody here, you don't speak the language, like it could have been anywhere. I was like, I know, that's the crazy thing. And I told them too, I was like, hey, like, look, I don't want you guys to think I'm here like by myself, I do have a team with me who is already here, and they've been, helping me with everything. So it's not like I'm going rogue or anything. So we had a good laugh about that. So that was really cool to be able to plant those seeds. To just share with folks that, God had brought me to Romania, and I wouldn't have chosen it, excuse me, had I been given the opportunity. As many of you know, I had prayed not to become a missionary. And then afterwards I prayed about like, send me to the UK, Lord, because the Brits need Jesus too, right? Which I still laugh about. But Lord, I'm still open if you want me to go to the UK. But yeah, in any case, that's story number one. Story number two, which is a little silly, is a few weeks ago I had been walking and going grocery shopping or something, I think. And then, no, actually, I went and took the trash out. And so there were a bunch of kids outside my building, and they were just hanging out. And they were teenagers. They were like probably 13 to 16. And I took the trash out, and then I came back, and they got really quiet when I kind of walked past them. But then I came back, and they got a little quiet again. And then I heard somebody say ni hao, which like was really funny to me, because I was like, oh, finally somebody thinks I'm Chinese. And I know that sounds really weird, but in Germany, when I lived there like 15 years ago, everybody thought I was Chinese. And here in Romania, like, nobody has assumed that. They're just like, I don't know where you're from. Like, you got to tell me. I'm not going to tell you. So it was really interesting that, of all the people I've interacted with, it's those kids who had assumed or thought maybe, like conjectured really that I was Chinese. And and they didn't say it in a mocking way, by the way. Like, I think if they had said something like that 5 years ago, I probably would have felt a certain way. But I was actually touched by that they would try to say hello to me in Chinese, because firstly, how did they know how to say hello in Chinese? That's amazing. Like, I didn't know how to say hello in Chinese until I was like 20, 21. And then secondly, I thought it was really sweet too, because the way that they did it, they just kind of did it quietly and just to see, and they didn't want to necessarily overtly assume. So I thought that was really sweet. I've had nothing but really sweet encounters with people. And sometimes I'm sure the encounters have been frustrating for some people, like the Romanians. Like, I just feel bad because I don't understand Romanian, and so they're trying to explain, but then they kind of like get fed up, and then they do the thing that they wanted me to do, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, it's been good. I wanted to share some stories with you guys. And yeah, just one last story would be that I am really just enjoying being here. And there was an interaction I had with a woman, and she was coming into the building. She was an older woman, and she said, I think she was trying to tell me to just go ahead of her, and she was trying to open the door, and I opened the door for her, and I kept motioning for her to go into the building because I wanted her to go into the building. And so she kept saying thank you, and then she said something to me, and I just felt like she was trying to tell me, like, you can go ahead because I'm going to be pretty slow. She's an older woman. So I climbed the stairs, and I'm opening up my door, and I'm doing it very, very poorly and very slowly because I'm on the third floor. And the woman, when she came up to the third floor, and I think she was going to keep going, she and I made eye contact because I looked behind me, and I smiled at her, and she smiled at me, and she said something, and she must have said like, have a wonderful night or something. But it was just really sweet because she was just, I don't know, she was just full of light and very youthful, even though she was an older woman. So yeah, just those little things, like just really fun stories wanted to share with you guys. And yeah, I'm just praying that you all are doing really well. Sorry for the long video, but just wanted to share with you guys. So I'll talk to you guys soon.